Hey, what's up? My name is Peast. Today I got a video going over the NFL midseason predictions. So I'm going to be guessing where all these teams are from what we know based on the midseason. You know, we're kind of middle of the year right now. It's going into week 8, and I'm just kind of guessing where I think everything's going to end up. You know what I mean? Um, it's been a wacky year so far. Some teams been losing to people that they maybe shouldn't be, but overall, I think a lot of teams are placed in a fairly predictable spot so far. I don't think anyone has been too crazy jumping out of, being a lot better than we thought they would or whatnot. You know what I mean? But yeah. So here is the current standings of the NFC. Right? We got teams that honestly, I think most people thought this was kind of gonna be like this. I don't know. I made predictions kind of beginning of the year, and all these teams are starting to feel like this is kind of where I thought they would be. You know what I mean? Um, Other than maybe the Bucs, maybe they're a surprise. Also, going into this video, need to give some context, right? I personally am a Green Bay Packers fan, so just know that anything I say, I guess my bias would be as a Packers fan, right? I've also been cheering for the Jets just because I'm still a Rodgers fan at heart, too. I still love him. So take that with however you may think of it, right? But yeah, so next up, we got the AFC standings. This is how they currently are. Again, no real big surprises. Maybe the Texans are better than we thought they would be. But honestly, none of this is too crazy. This division's a little bit weird. But yeah, um, I think it's all pretty normal, to be honest. So yeah, let's go into AFC standings. So this is where I think the AFC is going to be by the end of the year. These are my predictions. So I've got the Chiefs holding on to that 1 seed. I don't see anyone passing them. I think they've got the best defense they've had in a while. Maybe, yeah, ever right now, at least with Mahomes, right? Best defense Mahomes has had. I think the offense will pick up where they left off from previous years eventually, right? And they also they had a crazy draft pick back in 2017, I believe, and that was the refs. They drafted the refs with that pick, so they're gonna make sure with that pick that they're not gonna lose another game. But yeah, yeah, so that's how I see them there. I've got the Ravens at number 2. I actually made a little mistake here. I forgot to pick this game. I would have picked the Ravens to beat the Jaguars. So I'd have had them at 13-4 and them at 11-6, which doesn't really make a difference at all. It just basically means this isn't a tie break and this isn't a tie break either. So yeah, I've got the Ravens pretty high up this year. I think they've shown that their defense, this has been a really good defensive year for a lot of teams, and I think the Ravens defense has been one of the top ones, and they've got Lamar playing great football, and I think he keeps getting better throughout the year, connecting with these receivers. What are some notable things? We've got the Browns playing better than maybe we thought they would. The Bengals, I have them coming back. I don't think they're going to be this bad the whole year because they started off slow. They've started off slow every year. I think Joe Burrow is going to figure it out. I think Jamar Chase, he's always open, right? I think they're going to figure it out down there. I think the Bills really inconsistent this year. I see them as a 10-win team. Honestly, I love the Bills. I do like Josh Allen a lot, but I don't think that they are going to be crazy special like they've been before. They're just showing to me like they can't, I don't know, they can't always put it together when they need to. So I have them still making the playoffs, but as the 7th seed, which is kind of crazy. And Jaguars winning this division, I think that's a pretty easy one. They've got Calvin Ridley, they've got Trevor Lawrence, they've got a pretty high-powered offense. Their defense is really good too, and none of these guys are too powerful. Chargers just barely miss it. Yeah, I think that's just going to be the way it goes this year. They had a really slow start as well. So that's my AFC standings. Also, Steelers just miss it. Again, I think their record right now is like 4-2, and I think that that's better than what they really are. They haven't shown to me that they're that great of a team, and they do seem to win and find a way to be just above 500 every year with Mike Tomlin, but it's nothing greater than that. So I have them at 8, just barely missing the playoffs. Next up, we got the NFC. I got the Eagles with that 1 seed over here, going 14-3. Just shown to be more consistent. Their defense, again, very good. That's been the common occurrence with all these top teams this year. They've had a pretty great defense with a good quarterback on the other side keeping it up. Jalen Hurts having a little bit of an off year, just like some other quarterbacks this year. It's been a weird year, but I think that they will squeak it out on top, right? 2 seed, I actually have the Lions beating out the 49ers for that 2 seed, and that is because I believe that the Lions have a really easy schedule. They really only have a few hard games in the entire year. They've already played 2 of them. They have like 1 semi-hard game against the Cowboys left, and to me, that's what puts them at this 2 seed here. What do we got over here? We got the San Francisco 49ers at the 3 seed. Yeah, I think they're a pretty dominant team. I think that was well expected going into the season. A weird one, the Falcons. I don't know. This one's a hard one to pick, and honestly, the fact that I have both of these teams making the playoffs kind of shows how weak the NFC is this year, just with total amounts of teams, right? Because the Bucs shouldn't really be making the playoffs. Their team isn't that crazy, but the way their schedule is, the way it all lines up, I think they just barely beat out this Vikings team that had a really slow start. And I think they're going to pick things together after that 49ers loss. They also have a fairly easy schedule, considering they get to play the Packers and the Bears twice. So, yeah, I don't know. That's how I got it. Cowboys, Seahawks also making the playoffs here. I think those were pretty secure choices going into it as well. So, yeah, what do we got next? We got the AFC wild card. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to be going into the playoff brackets, right? And based on the way that I did my predictions, the way that I had the standings, this is how the season's going to unfold. It would be a Chiefs 1 seed, which would make a lot of sense. That seems to happen a lot of years. And then we would get okay, so I'll go over matchup by matchup. We would have the first matchup being Cleveland at Jacksonville. And I obviously picked the Jaguars here. The color means I picked them. And I don't know, man. I think the Browns have shown a lot of surprises this year. Their defense has been really great. But honestly, Deshaun Watson, Massage Watson, has been pretty underwhelming this year. He hasn't really performed how he should be. He hasn't been completely terrible, but he's not been good. And I think the Jaguars have a really good defense too. I think their offense is just able to put it together more. I also think they have Doug Peterson, who's a great coach. So I think they can win this one at home. They won one last year, and the Browns feel like a team that, I don't know, they don't give me the vibe of a team that's about to win a playoff game, to be honest. Then we've got kind of an interesting one. Due to the Bengals' slow start here, I've got them as a 6 seed, actually, behind 2 other AFC people as well, which is kind of crazy. But I've got them here as a 6 seed, and I've got them playing the Dolphins. So, yeah, I think the Dolphins will end up winning this division, and I think they have shown to be one of the only high-flying offenses this year, but I think that Bengals defense is just really good, really underrated. They've been carrying the Bengals through the playoffs these last few years, I'm not going to lie. As much as Joe Burrow gets all the credit, and yes, he makes some opportunistic type plays, but he's not carrying that team. He does not beat the Ravens in the wild card without Lamar Jackson last year if his defense doesn't get him a fumble recovery for 99 yards to a touchdown. Like, he's been carried, I'm not going to lie. And he was carried to the Super Bowl that other year, too. There's this funny little stat that, Kirk Cousins is a playoff choker, right? but he has a better passer rating and more touchdowns and more yards and everything than Burrow in the playoffs, which is kind of hilarious. Well, yards per game and like uh, touchdowns per game and whatnot, because I don't think he's played as many because his defense doesn't carry him like Burrow's. But that's a little tangent for you there. I think the Bengals defense is criminally underrated. I think it's a great defense, one of the best in the league. And I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase will just know what to do more in the playoffs than the Dolphins will with Tua and Tyreek. I think it'll be a great game, though. Give me the Bengals. Next up, we got Ravens and Bills, or Bills at Ravens, I guess. This one is crazy. Bills have all the potential in the world to just be like the best team at any given moment, and they also have all the potential in the world to go lose to the worst team. It's like absolutely insane. They're just a wild card. They've had some pretty sad losses this year, like Matt Milano, and honestly, I think the Bills' season gets cut short this year. I think the Ravens are just shown to be a high-powered team. I'm really liking the Ravens this year. I'm loving what Lamar has been doing, and yeah, I don't know. I think the Ravens win this one. So next up, we've got the NFC wild card. Again, Eagles at the 1 seed, getting that bye week. Yeah, we've got the Cowboys and the Falcons as the first game. So this will be Cowboys at Falcons in Atlanta. The Falcons, very underwhelming playoff team to me. I think the NFC is super top heavy, and I think a lot of these bottom teams are not the best, I'm going to be honest. I think the Falcons, they're okay. They have a great run game, but the Cowboys defense is just next level, and they've been beating the teams they're supposed to. So this feels like a game that the Cowboys would win. As that wild card team, I don't know. Dak Prescott might try and throw the game away, but he's not that bad. He's made to sound like he's the worst quarterback in the league, and he's definitely not like one of the best, but he's like good. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just don't think the Falcons have enough to get it done against Micah Parsons and that crazy defense. So then we've got the next matchup, Seahawks at 49ers. And this one, I'm not going to lie, I think the Seahawks will probably the Niners will probably manhandle the Seahawks, just like they did last year in the playoffs. Except this time it's not a 2-7, it's a 3-6. And the Niners are just a really overpowered team, man. When they're fully healthy, they've got so much star power, like Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and Trent Williams on that offense, that Brock Purdy just has to get stuff done, right? And I think he's good at that. He's shown that he can do that, right? So their defense has also always been great. I think they probably blow the Seahawks out here, to be honest, even though I love me some Geno Smith and whatever. Next up, we got Lions and Bucs. I believe the Lions already played the Bucs this year, and they won, I think. I could be wrong, though. But to me, the Bucs, another really underwhelming team that basically just makes it because they have an easy schedule, and this NFC is garbage. Yeah, I think the Lions probably end up taking this one pretty easily, too. I'm not going to lie. All right, next up, we got the AFC divisional round. Ooh, let me move my little head over here. This one is fun. We've got the Ravens versus the Jaguars. So this will be at Baltimore. I don't know, man. I think the Jaguars are a good team. They really are a good team. But I don't know, man. Lamar just I feel like he can do stuff this year. I feel like this is his year. He keeps getting criticized like, oh, one playoff win, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I think this is his year. I think he's going to be healthy this time. I think he's here to show people what's up, you know what I mean? And I think he's going to be able to win against the Jaguars team that's honestly been fairly inconsistent. They haven't shown to be too incredible this year, if I'm being honest. Their offense has been lackluster at times, and I think they'll piece things together, and Doug Peterson's a good coach, but I don't know. I think the Ravens end up taking this one. Um, Going on, the next game, we got Bengals at Chiefs. This is, again, probably going to be a super close game, just like it is the last 2 years when the Bengals and the Chiefs played. But this time, again, I have the Chiefs taking it just because the Bengals have felt a little bit lesser this year than they have the last few years. Not that they've been bad. I think this is really close, but I just don't think that they're like gonna take it again. I feel like the magic of that going to the Super Bowl was just a one-off thing, honestly, and I feel like they're gonna keep getting worse now that they have to pay only so many people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think the Chiefs end up taking it from them again. Maybe the refs, the Chiefs' famous draft pick, pull this one out for them like they usually do. But yeah. I don't know. I see the Chiefs taking this one, I'm going to be honest. All right, next up, we got the 3 seed at the 2 seed. We got a 49ers versus Lions matchup. I think this would probably be a pretty good game. But if I'm being honest, I think when the Lions have played any resemblance of a good team this year, they get whooped. Like when they lost to the Ravens, or, I mean, they didn't get whooped, but they lost to the Seahawks in overtime, and I feel like they also just have a really, really easy schedule, I'm not going to lie. So for that reason, when they play an actual good team again in the playoffs here, I don't think they get whooped. I think they put up a fight, but I think the Niners handle this one, I'm not going to lie. I think the Niners are just a superpower team, you know what I mean? Next up, we got the Cowboys versus the Eagles. This one, I'm not gonna lie, the Eagles just seem to own that division every year, and the Cowboys, they can't make it to the championship game. It will never happen. It's like a curse that's happened against them, which is hilarious for someone like me. But yeah, so the Eagles, I have a feeling, probably whoop them. The Cowboys got the brakes blown off them by the 49ers, and when they've had to play good teams, it hasn't really ended that well either, to be honest, similar to the Lions. But give me the Eagles in that one for a, yeah. There we go. We got Lamar Jackson in his first championship game here at Arrowhead. Now, this one, I'm going to be honest, I feel like this is where Lamar's magic runs out. I think he's going to have a great year, but that Chiefs defense has been really good, very underrated. And I don't know, man. I think that the Chiefs, when it's a close game, the refs are going to make sure they win it. It's been proven this year, it's been proven last year that that's just the case. It's sad, but they like their boy Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and I like Mahomes too. He's fun to watch, but it's not fun to watch all these calls that are absolute garbage. I have a feeling that would probably be the outcome of this game, to be honest. I feel like it would be a close game, and the Chiefs win close games because Roger Goodell wants them to win. So, yeah, give me the Chiefs here going to the Super Bowl again. And then here we got a rematch of last year, Eagles, 49ers. This time I think the Eagles take the cake. I think the Eagles will not be the 1 seed because they've had a little slump here with some injury, with Debo out and whatnot. But when those pieces all get back, they are a monstrous team. They were blowing good teams out more than the Eagles. The Eagles have been in close games all year, it feels like. And they feel like they've dropped off just a little bit. Not really, but think this one will be close, and I think it will be the 49ers this time. I don't think that the Eagles are going back. I doubt that there would be a Super Bowl rematch. That feels like in back-to-back years. That feels like crazy to me. But I do see the Chiefs making it again, which isn't too crazy. So I think this will be a 49ers-Chiefs Super Bowl, and I think the Chiefs win this one. I'm going to be honest. Again, Probably a close game, and again, the refs might rig it 3 times in a row. Who knows with the Chiefs? That's what seems to happen. I'm not gonna lie. In all these games, none of these teams have been too consistent this season. To be honest, it's been really weird. Teams that are supposed to blow other teams out just haven't been doing it, and that is the case for both of these teams. But at the end of the day, I can't find any other two picks that are more consistent. They just win somehow. They usually just get it done, and I could see the Chiefs taking this one. Probably Patrick Mahomes, his third Super Bowl, getting another Super Bowl MVP. That feels pretty fitting. Like they would go back to back here. I couldn't really see a reason why they wouldn't, in all honesty. I do think that it would be a good game, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think Mahomes has been here too many times as well to not take advantage of it. So yeah, that's my Super Bowl prediction. Kansas City Chiefs champions. Now on to the awards. Okay, so for MVP, I got Lamar Jackson. Been hyping him up this whole video. I don't know, man. I feel like he's gonna take that Ravens team to a great spot. I feel like he's been playing great, and I feel like he keeps getting better. Like I said earlier, he's connecting with those receivers better than ever. A lot of them are young or new, like Odell and Zay Flowers. They were dropping things too. And I feel like he's going to get it all together, or at least the team is. And it might secure him his second MVP because maybe voter fatigue. They don't give it to Mahomes again. And honestly, I think he's been having a better season than Mahomes, if we're being honest. And I think he will have a better season. So it's a pretty hard year this year. I feel like a quarterback might not be the best player, but they'll probably get the award anyway just because it's a quarterback award, which, of all the top quarterbacks, Lamar has been seeming to perform the best for me. So he's got my pick. Next up, we got Defensive Player of the Year, Micah Parsons. This one just makes sense to me. He's been going crazy. He feels like the reason that the Cowboys are good. And he's also versatile. If he maybe doesn't lead the league in sacks, he'll be seen as more of like since he's a linebacker, that he does more in other situations, I guess, than just pure pass rushers. Even though he basically is just like a pure pass rusher, I feel like that gives him some extra credit, where he might take it home if it's really close with T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett and whatnot. But yeah, I think Micah Parsons takes home his first one this year. I think he's been overdue. So yeah, next up, Offensive Player of the Year, Tyreek Hill, Father of the Year award winner as well. I think he has the best chance because he's on pace to break that receiving record. And honestly, I think he could do it. I really do think he could do it. Also, he scores touchdowns more so than Jefferson was the last few years, it feels like. And that Miami offense has been kind of crazy. So I feel like with all those reasons, he might take it over someone like Christian McCaffrey, right? Just because if he breaks the record, I think he's winning it, right? I think there's no way to deny that. So yeah, next up we got Coach of the Year. I got Dan Campbell. In my little prediction world, the Lions are going, what is it, like 12 wins this year, which would be absolutely crazy, bringing them back from what they've been the last few seasons. And honestly, this is a likable dude. Everyone in the league seems to like this guy. Everyone is on the Dan Campbell train, right? It feels like a good motivator, a great coach, honestly. What he's done to that team, I don't think many other people could ever do. So I think he's going to earn his respect this year and probably win the award, especially bringing them to such a high record, right? With a team that doesn't have that crazy of star power, too, if you think about it. With, their best players maybe being like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Their defense is definitely better. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I believe, is on the team. See, exactly. Like, they don't have, like Jared Goff is not a guy that pops out at you being like, oh, he's carrying this team. So I feel like Dan Campbell's probably going to get a lot of the credit there and will probably win this award. Next up, I think this one is my biggest lock of the entire video. Comeback player of the year. That is Damar Hamlin. Obvious reasons. If this dude plays a single snap of football, he's winning comeback player of the year. He literally died on the field last year. And I think he earned it, right? I think it's a cool story. It's pretty crazy how he died on the field. I see he gets a lot of hate for dying on the field. I don't think he wanted to do that either, and I think people act like, I don't know, like he is famous just because, which he is pretty much famous just because of it, but he'd probably just want his normal life back, in all honesty. I have no clue. I don't know the guy personally, but I do think he wins comeback player of the year. Here we go. Next up, we got offensive rookie of the year, CJ Stroud. Going into the season, I was pretty confident it would be Bijan Robinson, but the Falcons just don't want to use the guy, and I don't really get why. He had a crazy game against my Packers because our run defense is atrocious. And ever since that, the Falcons just decided, yeah, forget about this guy. We don't really want him. Maybe something's going on there. I have no clue. But CJ Stroud has been lights out. He, I think, broke the record for like most passes before an interception or something crazy in his career. He's looked really good. He's flipped this Texans team around instantly. He's making people like Tank Dell look like star receivers. It's like, this guy's legit, and I really like CJ Stroud. He's breaking that Ohio State quarterback curse, and I think he's actually really good. So I think this guy probably wins Offensive Rookie of the Year for sure. Next up, we got Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jalen Carter. This one, you add a monster to the Eagles, just an athletic freak who's going to get stuff done, and he's not like the main person being blocked on that defense. Like, he's not the center of attention, right? That's going to lead to crazy things, and it has so far. He's had a really great defensive year. He's made their defense noticeably better, and it was already great. And just for that, I think he's probably winning Rookie of the Year. The other option could have been Will Anderson on the Texans. And I don't think he's looked bad, but Jalen Carter to me has just looked better. He's been putting up pretty great stats for a rookie. So, yeah, next up, we got I think this is the last award I put on here, the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, and I think this also goes to Damar Hamlin. Just because his charity that raised a lot of money through him, I don't know, he donated a lot of it, he made a lot of money, and also just with this story, I feel like, the NFL wants to give him those props, you know what I mean? I don't know, this is a hard one to pick, honestly, because I don't really know who the good dudes in the NFL are, right? I don't know them personally, I've never met them, and I just knew about his charity, right? So maybe someone else has a better charity this year or something going on, but the one that Damar Hamlin has, to me, was the only one I was aware of. So I feel like they would want to give him this award, in all honesty. I feel like that could happen realistically. So yeah, that's everything. We got a little bit of a goof here. Thanks for watching. Smash that subscribe button. And at least the Bears still suck, right? That's one thing. Oh my God, I've had such a bad year. Need to rant about this real quick. The Packers, man, they have just let me down over and over. They keep getting worse and worse. Matt LaFleur looks like absolute garbage without Aaron Rodgers carrying him up and down the field, sucking his thumb. Our defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, is so garbage. He wants to play zone coverage every single snap with Jair Alexander on our team, one of the best man coverage cornerbacks in the league. Our run defense is atrocious, just like usual. It always is. It always sucks every single year. And why would he fix that? Who needs to fix that, right? Oh my God, it's absolutely garbage being a Packer fan right now. I know how the rest of you guys felt all these years. But yeah, at least the Bears still suck. I do think the Bears actually beat us later in the season. They look like they're getting better, and we just keep getting worse. And that's how absolutely god awful the Packers are this year. We might lose to the Bears. I don't think Jordan Love's even that bad, to be honest. I think he's shown flashes that he can be really good, and I think he's not a little like pussy, and he'll actually throw the ball down the field like a man sometimes, which a lot of these quarterbacks just refuse to do for some reason. They're check down merchants, and Jordan Love hasn't been too much of that, but he's been pretty good. Ugh, I can't say that. But I don't think it's his fault that he's bad. I think the Packers offense starts so goddamn slow because we hand the ball off to A.J. Dillon every start of the drive, and it's like, well, Matt LaFleur, what do you think is going to happen, bud? This is our power back. He's here to give us like 1 yard gains on 4th and 1, and that's pretty much it. He's like a niche dude. He shouldn't be getting the ball every other play. And that's all he can do. And then we suck ass. And then he's like, oh, well, now we're down 20 at half. Let's throw. And then we start throwing the ball, and then we catch up, and then still lose in a heartbreaking fashion because we still suck ass. But if we just threw the ball the whole game and trusted Jordan Love more, we would not suck this bad, in my opinion. I think he's been throwing a lot of interceptions that are just, fuck it, I got to throw something out there for this game to like so that we have a chance. Maybe they're not the best decision, but he's doing something, right? And he gets all the blame for it, and I feel bad. I don't think he's that bad. I think he's actually pretty solid. But yeah, that's my little Packers rant there. I hate them right now. They suck ass. They're absolute garbage. And yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you made it all the way over here, hit that bell button. Am I right, guys? But yeah, Bears still suck. I'm out. Adios.